Hello, you guys. It is Wednesday night, and we are so excited to be here with you, Coach Wendy and Coach Kevin. I am joining you from Alberta, Canada, and Kevin is joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. So we're really excited to be sharing this with you tonight because this is totally brand new. And we are so excited about the possibilities that this brings for you and for each one of us. And our goal tonight is to share with you about Oola and the framework, but we also are really excited to help you start dreaming again and help you make some goals around those dreams that maybe you packed away for a long time. We want you to start digging deep and start bringing up those dreams again. And we're going to help you put together a process that's going to help you reach that dream. And so our goal tonight is to help you with a quick success that gets momentum going for you in your life and helps you achieve that life of balance and less stress that we're all looking for. So the really exciting thing I think about tonight is that we actually have the Oola guys, Dave and Troy, doing this with us. So Kevin and I are pretty honored to be on the same stage with the Oola guys tonight. So if you haven't seen it, we have a form that we have dropped in the comments below. So we encourage you to print that off. It's got some questions. It's got some workspace there for you. And if you don't do that, we encourage you to grab a pen or a piece of paper because we're going to get you to do some work yourself. So we love the interaction. If you're here with us live, please let us know where you're joining us from. If you're watching this on the replay, please tell us where you're joining us from on the replay. And if you have any questions as we go along, we encourage you to just drop it in the comments below and we will answer that for you. So Kevin, do you have anything that you'd like to share before we get going here with the Oola guys?
We are just excited, Wendy, like you said, and we are ready to go. Going to invite the Oola guys on the stage here. So let's see what they have to say.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Dave, the Oola Seeker. This is Dr. Troy, the Oola Guru. We are the Oola guys, and we are so excited that you have joined us for this home class. With your hosts to help you get started on a life of more balanced growth and purpose.
And reconnecting with your dreams. We drive a bus around the country collecting dreams.
So fun.
We've collected 27 layers of handwritten dreams and people decided their dreams. So thank you for taking the time tonight to invest in you because you're worth it.
What we want to do is get you caught up on really what Oola is. If you look at the definition, it's a lifestyle framework to help you find more balanced growth and purpose. But it's just so much more than that because it's a global community of people saying, I want to live different. I want to live a better life. I want to have better relationships. I want to connect to my family more. I want to live debt-free or at least not have the stress of debt overhanging on my shoulders all the time like a big weight. I want to reconnect to a faith walk, have more fun, and live more purpose-filled lives. And that's where we're going to start the process with you today of just working through that to get you started on really developing a system to help you find a life that you dream of and deserve.
It's a proven framework, and it's just time to stepping outside of life. We used to do this as a group of guys back in the day, and once a year, do what you're doing right now, just gather with friends and say, okay, where am I in the key areas of life? Even if it's not that great, but where do I want to go and not losing sight of our dreams and actually finding a system to take action steps that move your life forward.
I learned the Oola Lifestyle Framework in 1997, a long time ago, from this guy, the Oola Guru. And he said, hey, you're gonna work hard in business and you're gonna work hard in money, but there's so much more in life. You really have to balance these 7 key areas of life. So I found myself in 1997 for the first time ever looking at my life in these 7 key areas: fitness, finance, family, field, which is your career, faith, friends, and fun, and saying, where am I and where do I want to go with these 7 areas and how am I going to get there, and answering those questions. When I followed this system, the Oola Lifestyle Framework, I found success at a very young age, married, kids, amazing family, beautiful house, great career, working on my faith, running marathons, staying fit. I found my Oola life. In around 2007, 2008, I drifted from these principles. And where I found myself in 2009 was I found myself bankrupt, divorced, and living in a motel. And I remember reaching out to this guy one night who was fully retired, married to his high school sweetheart. You met her in kindergarten, your kindergarten sweetheart, if you can even say that, married his high school sweetheart, and beautiful family, working on all 7 key areas of life. And I was on the bad side of town in the motel. And he said, you have to get back to the Oola Lifestyle Framework. So I sat down and I started working on my Oola life again. And what was my year like? What led to this? Why did I find myself in this situation where I feel so broken and so much pain? And how do I start working out of that process to move forward? And as I started working on the Oola Lifestyle Framework and get my own Oola life back, that's when we decided to share this message with the world. So what we're going to do today in this class is start that process for you of just where are you in these 7 key areas? How did you get here? What is your true purpose? And really start to uncover some stuff for you where you can start moving forward and living a life that you really want to live.
It's really about you getting to know you again. I remember when you called me from the bottom, when you were in that bad spot. And I remember saying where you are is simply where you are, not who you are. We believe you're designed by God for greatness and a purpose, something amazing. And many times we lose sight of that. I don't know if you've lost sight of that, but it's easy to do in this busy world. So the whole point of this class tonight is just to pull out some things and to get some information to make sure you're reconnected to your passion, your unique purpose. And I always think we're going to get around to it. I always think that, someday after the kids do this and after my job settles down and after this business gets to this level, then I'll start working on me. But I do this thing, you know what I do. But on my birthday every year, I have 2 jars of marbles and a little display in the middle. And I'm real left brain, kind of nerdy analytical. And when I look at the stats in America, the average male in America lives to be 77 years old. The average female lives to be 81. I know only God knows our days, but that's an average. Like, we're not going to avoid it. Men 77, women 81. So what I started with was 77 marbles. And every day on my birthday, I didn't start this when I was 0. I started like in my 20s, but I would move over a marble. So I always have this marble with me. And on my birthday, I would move it over. And then when I look at these 2 jars of marbles every day, I see the years lived, the ones that have moved. And when I look at the years that I've lived, there's some pain in there. There's some success in there. There's babies born and trips taken. There's businesses failed. There's businesses successes. It's a whole life. And I don't spend a lot of time there. But what happens every year for me is every time I move a marble and the years left to live, that jar gets smaller. It creates a fire in me. It creates an urgency that life is short. And when I look at the marble that's on display, that's now. That's the year I'm living now. That's the year you're living right now. And it says, what do I don't control the past. I even don't control the future, but I do control this moment. And when I look at that jar that's year by year getting smaller and smaller, I say, what do I want for my life? Like, what do I want in the 7 key areas of life? And that's what we're working with you tonight on.
When I reached out to you from that motel and you were fully retired and living your Oola life and I was at the bottom, you said something very important to me. He said to me, where you are right now is just where you are. It's not who you are. Where you are is just where you are. It's not who you are. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know if you're struggling in a marriage. I don't know if you're struggling with your health issues. I don't know if you're struggling with your finances. I don't know if all 7 areas are great, but you want to grow more and find deeper purpose. But what I do know is that you're designed by God for greatness and a purpose. You have this amazingness inside of you. And where you are right now is just where you are. It's not who you are. So let's get started in the process. We're going to answer 2 questions in this class on your card. And as you answer those 2 questions, I want you to look back at your year and say, what are some of the highlights of my year? What are some of the challenges of my year? And this is going to start the process of you starting to work on you. Because again, where you are is where you are. It's not who you are. And you're designed for greatness and a purpose to live an extraordinary life. And this is starting that process. So what I want you to do is turn your card over, answer your first 2 questions. When you're done answering those questions, turn your card back over and wait for the host to guide you to your next steps. We're going to see you in section 2 in just a minute.
Awesome. So our first questions that we want you to really take a look at today is the last 365 days. And we want you to think about the 3 biggest highlights that you've had in the last 365 days. And then we want you to take a look at what were your 3 biggest challenges in the last 365 days. And I know for me, when I think about this, I would say that the biggest challenge for me, and this might be the same for many of you, has been COVID. I'm also going to tell you that probably one of the biggest highlights of the last 365 days, I would say that it's COVID, because what COVID did for me as a highlight was that it made me slow down. It made me reevaluate. It made me really determine what it was that I wanted to do with my life. And it is actually really the result of me becoming a certified Oola Life coach. I did that during COVID times. So whatever these are for you, we encourage you to take some time to write those down. And if you're watching the replay of this, you can hit pause so that you have some time to write these down. And before we move on to our next question, and the guys have more to share with us. Can't hear you, Kevin. Can't hear you, Kevin. Kevin.
Hey there. Welcome back to section 2. Now that you know your biggest highlights and your biggest challenge from the last 365 days, now we're going to start moving forward. Now we're going to start looking at your life you're living today by starting to look at what are called the 7 key areas of life. Again, learned from the Oola Guru. But the 7 key areas of life: fitness, finance, family, field, which is your career, faith, friends, and fun. And what you're going to be doing when you're looking at these areas is saying, where am I in these 7 key areas and where do I want to go? I learned the 7 key areas from Dr. Troy way back in the day, like I said, in 1997, when he said, you can't just be successful in 2 areas. You have to be successful or work on balancing and growing all 7 key areas of life. Now, we have seen what has happened when people don't do that. Debt is out of control. Overweight issues are out of control. Marriages are falling apart at 53% in America and worldwide. And we're having a lot of people walk away from their faith walk, having fun in life and losing their purpose. So this is where you start to look at your life different, what we call looking at your life through the lens of Oola, and saying, I'm designed for greatness and a purpose. I know where I've been the last 365 days, my challenges, my highlights, you've talked about them. And now it's like, now let's look at where I am today in these 7 key areas and start thinking of the process of where do you want your life to go?
So I think as the world is telling us that we're defined by what we drive, where we live, what we do for a career. And it's just not that way. When we study people who are the most happy, the most deeply fulfilled, they have balance in the 7 key areas, not just a ton of money, not just a great career. Those are important, but they truly have found a way to pay attention and be intentional with 7 key areas. I can't think of a better way to explain this than I was a little kid, a little punk kid, probably 3rd, 4th grade. And I remember my dad taking me to the circus. And the circus is just cool as a kid in general. But there was one part that stood out to me. There was this guy who walked in the center circle under the lights with a table full of white plates. And in front of him were 7 sticks. And he would grab a plate from the table and he would get it spinning. And I was in awe, like, man, how can he balance a plate on a stick? And he would grab the first plate and put it on a pole. And he'd go grab another plate, another pole, a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th. And by the time he got to that 6th pole, it got really interesting because what was happening over here on pole 1? Well, that plate was starting to wobble. And you could palpate the conflict in his brain. Like, do I grab that last plate, the 7th plate, and try to get it spinning? Or do I go tap pole 1 or plate 1 before it crashes and hits the floor? That's what we're doing. You and I and everyone we love, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we're doing this every single day of our life. You're trying to be a great wife, a great husband. You're trying to be a good dad, a good mom. You're trying to make money for the family, save for the future, college, pay off debt, retirement. You're trying to stay healthy and eat right and be active. You're trying to have a faith walk and be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. You're trying to find joy, not kick it down the road, but have joy in the day. Have a quality group of friends that are encouraging and not toxic. And it's overwhelming, and it can be overwhelming. So what we're talking about today is Oola. If you want a life that's balanced and you want one that's fulfilling, it's not 1 or 2 areas. It's all 7.
And now that you're going to look at your life through this lens of Oola, you're going to start looking at your life through the 7 key areas of life. It's so important to visualize that you are balancing the 7 key areas, and you want to start to figure out where your stresses come from, where the overwhelm has come from, what 7 areas you need to focus on more, where the stresses come from in those 7 key areas of life, and which ones you want to start working on for your future. What are you passionate about? What is naturally you? This is not what your mom and dad want to tell your teachers or preachers or neighbors or friends. This is, what do you really want to do for your life? This is time for you to look at your own life and say, when you flip that card over and look at the next 2 questions, who am I? Who do I really want to be? Who do I really want to grow into in the future? And where do I want my life to go? All right, so flip your card over, answer the next 2 questions of section 2, and then we will be right back after you get done working through this with your host.
So our next questions are, which F of Oola causes you the most stress or most overwhelm? And think about why that is. So the 7 F's of Oola are fitness, finance, family, faith, friends, and fun. And field, of course, is your career. So which one of those really causes you stress and overwhelm right now in your current life? You know, about 2 years ago, I was not in shape. And I went on a journey and started taking action because of the Oola framework. And I got more in shape. I'm still not where I want to be yet, but I am working on that. And I attained several goals that I had tried for years to achieve. Losing weight, getting a better looking figure, being able to fit into skinny jeans. Well, not really, but close. They're skinny for me, okay? And actually getting off of medications that I had been prescribed by my doctor for chronic diseases. And I did that all because of the Oola framework. So a couple years ago, it was fitness was my, where it was causing me overwhelm. And right now, I feel like my plates are all in balance and they're all spinning because of the Oola framework. But that may not be where you're at. Maybe your fitness is out of whack like mine was. Or maybe you've got loads of credit card debt and it is just bogging you down and you can't move because of that. Or maybe it's a toxic family member. Or maybe it's a job that you really don't like. Most of us would love to work at our dream job. And thanks to the Oola framework, I feel like I'm actually doing that now. Or maybe you don't have enough friends. Or maybe you're just so busy keeping all those plates spinning that you're absolutely not having any fun or any enjoyment. So think about that for you and write down your answer on your piece of paper or any piece of paper that you have. Now, the second question is, which F of Oola are you most passionate about and why? For me, that is definitely my family. And I say family because it's really the reason. My beautiful wife, Darla, our 6 kids, our 7 grandkids, they are the reason that I went on that fitness journey. I did not want to get up and go for a walk in the morning. I did not want to change my diet. I liked the BCD diet that I was on, bread, cheese, and dessert. And it wasn't working for me. So I had to change to fruits and vegetables. And I did all of that because of my family. I can't care for them. I can't earn a living to help them if I'm not here. And I needed to fix my health and wellness and my fitness. So it's all because of my family that I'm so passionate about that I did that. We also have paid down tons of debt, and all we have now left to pay is for our house because of the Oola framework. We're working on our dream career that Darla and I do as coaches. And I'm working on building my faith. I've got more friends than I've ever had before. And I am actually having fun while I'm doing all of those things. So I would love for you all to be able to experience that as well. Now let's hear from the Oola guys again. See what they have to say this time.
Hey there, and welcome back to section 3. Now you know which 7 key areas you looked at them, you learned about them: fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun. You looked at those and said, why am I having so much stress in these categories? And you talked about it. And then you said, what am I really passionate about naturally and what I want to do? And now you're starting to put your life back together. You're starting the process of seeing your life through the lens of Oola, which is great because it's going to help you find more balance, growth, and purpose. But there are these things, and they're evil things, and they're called blockers. And I know exactly what these feel like because when I lost everything and started working my way back, I had to work through a lot of blockers. Think of a blocker as that's what I want in my life. Right there it is. This is what I want for my family life, my fitness, my finances, my career, my faith walk, having fun with my friends circle, whatever it is that you're trying to go get. You're thinking about your life now in this through the lens of Oola, but these are going to stop you. And blockers are things that you've learned over the past, like guilt, fear, anger, laziness, self-sabotage is a big one. Envy is a big one. You've learned these. And now we have to start the process of helping you overcome and break through these blockers so that you can get to your Oola life.
Part of you getting the most out of this experience is being honest with yourself. Blockers are where dreams go to die. All of us have dreams. We all have visions of what we want for life. Do you know that only 8% of the people who set goals in their life achieve them? That means 92% of us don't. And they usually die right when facing a blocker. Maybe you don't feel worthy of success. Maybe you struggle with fear. Maybe you're straight up lazy. I mean, I'm lazy in certain things in my life, I know. Maybe you're carrying the weight of guilt from a past failure or a past mistake. But the cool thing is, if you can learn to overcome these blockers, the good stuff is on the other side.
And that's what we want for you in this next section. When you're ready to turn your card over and look at this next question and talk about it with your host and talk about it amongst each other, this is what we want you to do, is start to work through these blockers. Get real with where you are. Again, this is finding out what's been holding you back. And maybe it's more than one blocker, but find that blocker that's holding you back and start the process of talking about it so you can start to overcome this blocker and get your life. Remember what we said in section 1? You are designed for greatness and a purpose. You have this extraordinary life inside of you, but we've learned things from other people telling us, from other past failures, even from past successes, where we've lost our way when it comes to fear, guilt, self-sabotage, anger, laziness, envy. And we want you to start the process of breaking through that so you can get to where you want to go in life and live a better life of more balance, more growth, and greater purpose. So turn your card over, answer the next question for section 3, talk about it amongst a group, work with your host, and we'll see you right back in section 4, where we talk about accelerators and start to put all this back together. The good stuff is coming.
So what is the main Oola blocker that gets in the way of you living your Oola life, and why? And I think Troy said this best when he said, blockers are where our dreams die. We can have great ideas, we can have these goals, we can have these dreams, we can be full of, vinegar, we're gonna go get them. But we often end up with these blockers, and we come up against them and we stop. And so we have 7 blockers that we really try to look at. And as Troy says, we have to be really honest with ourselves in this process. So I encourage you to take the time that you need to pause this video and really think about this. I can tell you that for me, fear and guilt are the biggest blockers for me. There's also anger, self-sabotage, laziness, envy, and focus, or rather a lack of focus. But I can tell you that when I went through my own process of this last year and getting my coaching certification, I realized that I was carrying some guilt around. I'd been carrying it for 25 years, and that was holding me back from a lot of things. And it took me recognizing it, dealing with it, apologizing for what I needed to before I could honestly move on with my life. So again, I encourage you to really think about this, because you will come across these, and it's important that you recognize it when you see it. So on your piece of paper or on your own, please think about what your main Oola blocker is that gets you in the way of living your dreams and your goals.
That's powerful stuff, Wendy. And these aren't the only blockers. Some of you may be experiencing others, but these are the main 7 that we see people struggle with the most. So let's hear from the Oola guys and see how we can overcome that.
Hey there. Welcome to section 4.
You're crushing it.
Blockers
You're
can be
doing great.
heavy. I hope you're
doing
doing okay. Now we're going to get into the accelerators. This is what moves your life forward. This is the wind behind your sails. So we started talking about your year in review. We started talking about these 7 key areas of life: fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun that you need to look at. You need to look at these 7 plates you're spinning all the time and say, I am designed to have those 7 plates spinning, growing, and filled with purpose. I deserve that life. But boom, we ran into these blockers, and you started working through the process with your host of breaking through and overcoming these blockers. And now it's the beautiful part. You got the 7 key areas of life. You're starting to think of, where do I want these areas to go? What is my true purpose, my God-given greatness inside of me? Where am I going with this? And now what can I use to get you there faster? And that's called an Oola Accelerator, like gratitude, love, passion, wisdom, integrity. I know when I was at the bottom, when I was struggling with at the bottom, losing everything, living in the motel, I had a lot of blockers: guilt, I had fear, I had anger, I had all sorts of things I had to work through and overcome. And how I did that, a big part of it was by embracing the accelerators like gratitude, love, passion, wisdom, integrity, and dedicating my life to embracing those to help me push my life forward.
This is a lot. We get it. It's a lot to go through in a home class, and especially if you're really taking this process seriously, because you
better be.
You're forced to be.
Better be.
You're forced to be vulnerable. You're forced to just. Well, we're looking at with blockers, like, man, maybe I'm carrying guilt. Maybe I am lazy. Maybe I don't see my own value or my own worth. I mean, these are some heavy issues, but accelerators are fun. Like, accelerators are the wind behind your back. That, like, hey, if I do this, if I did this in my life, if I dedicated the next 365 days to this one accelerator, my life would move forward. You know, for me. So we encourage you to look at these and pick one. Mine's discipline, and I always tell myself what the lazy want, the discipline get. I know that if I wake up every day and take small steps forward toward my Oola life, then my life will change for the better. So this is your moment. This is your moment to look at your life and say, as I review the top 7 Oola accelerators, which one would bring my life the most value? Which one would move my life forward?
So what I want you to do is flip your card over. Your host is going to pause this video, and I want you to look at the 7 accelerators written in front of you, and I want you to say, which one do I need right now in my life? You just worked on the blockers, so which accelerator is going to move you forward and why? And then you're going to discuss it as a group. Your host is going to take you through that process, and then we're going to see you back for section 5.
So if you wrote down a blocker like we did, maybe 2 or 3, what is going to allow you to get over that? And so these 7 accelerators: gratitude, love, passion, discipline, integrity, wisdom, and being humble. Those things can all help you, but there's probably going to be 1 or 2 of those that you really utilize the most. 2 years ago, when I started my journey in fitness, integrity was my word of the year. I was always had integrity with other people, but I didn't have integrity with myself. I would make New Year's resolutions, but I wouldn't follow through with them. And so that year, when I made integrity my word of the year, I did what I said I was going to do finally, and I got past the blocker. I also, of course, used discipline that year. But this year, my word of the year is passion. Darla and I are so believe in the Oola framework so much that we bought a Volkswagen Beetle, and we allow people to put stickers all over it. with their dreams on them, just like the Oola guys did with their Oola bus. And you'll see a picture of that at the end of our presentation tonight. So that's how passionate we are about Oola and about the framework. And that's because we know how much it's done for us, and we know how much it can do for you. So let's see what else the Oola guys have to say tonight.
Hey there, and welcome back to section 5, my favorite part. You just worked through the accelerators. That is my favorite part when we do Oola Palooza, when we do any of our events, when we're writing in our books, when we're teaching this on the road in the Oola tour. I love working through the accelerators. You just worked through my favorite part. But now we're going to work through what Dr. Troy really loves, and that's taking action and really starting to put this in motion by making an intention, setting a goal in one of the 7 key areas of life that you say, okay, now I know what happened in the last 365 days. I know the 7 F's of Oola, ones I'm passionate about, ones I'm really struggling with. I know these blockers that get in the way that are keep holding me back over the years. I now learned about an accelerator that's going to help move me forward. But what am I going to go get? Like, how am I going to take action and say, this is what I need to do? And that's what we're declaring in section 5 is one goal that's going to bring your life more balance, more growth, and greater purpose over the next year. That if you hit that goal, everything changes. We have seen these goals across the global community be losing weight, 120 pounds, 50 pounds, 80 pounds, paying off debt, getting debt free, totally debt free. We have seen this with putting a marriage back together, getting out of a toxic marriage where there's abuse, reconnecting with childhood friends, reconnecting with people that you love, really working on a faith walk again, having more fun in life, traveling. It's endless. What we've seen people say, this is what I need to do because I am worth it and I'm designed for greatness and a purpose. And I want to go get my Oola life, but this needs to happen. So you're going to be declaring that now in this section.
You've learned there's 7 key areas of life. And this is that moment where you look at the 7 key areas and you reflect upon your life, the life you've lived, the life you want to live, and the life you're living in this moment, and saying, if this one thing changed in the next 365 days, if this were the only thing that changed in my life would be radically transformed. And we're having you actually put a pen to paper, a pen to sticker. Like that's a commitment for you to think about this, really process what you've learned tonight and say, okay, what do I really want for my life? And take the time to write it down and go, okay, and commit to that. Because that's a commitment between you and you. Integrity is one of the Oola accelerators, by the way. And that doesn't mean just keeping your word with someone else. It means keep your word with yourself. So make a commitment on one thing. This can be between you and you, or you can share it with the group. It's up to you. But what is the one thing I'm going to commit to tonight that if I did that in the next 365 days, my life would be radically transformed?
All right, so here we go. Now flip your card over. You got to see that question right there. Your Oola 1. What are you going to commit your life to? And start thinking and taking action. Now this is where you put that pen to paper on your card, and what you write down, you make sure happens in the next 365 days. This is your goal that you're going to go to start the process of really finding a life of more balanced growth and purpose, what we call your Oola life. All right, push pause on this video, relax. Think about that goal. Make sure what you write down you commit to, and we're going to see you back here in a moment for section 6.
Awesome. So those guys sum it up so well. But I guess what I just want to add to this is, as you think about the one goal that you can work towards, I want you to think of something that is truly transformative for your life. And it's different for all of us. We know where we're weak, and we also know where we can make the biggest impact. For Kevin, the impact was in his health and being able to get off of his medications just by making those healthy choices. And so that was his Oola 1 for that year. And when you think of this, I want you to think of one thing that it might not just affect one area of your life, but if you achieved it, or when you achieve it, it's actually going to affect many areas of your life. So if, for instance, that is around finance, and you are wanting to pay down your debt or be debt-free by a certain date, that also affects other areas of your life. It affects your relationships. It affects your fun. It affects, what you can do with your family. So, and the other thing we want you to think about here too is that we want you to see quick success here. So we're going to help you in the next section. We're going to help you learn how you can take action towards this goal. But take your time. And if you may not have even written that down yet. Your Oola 1, if it scares you, it's probably the one. Because you probably haven't even written it down yet. Because you have those blockers coming in, a fear, whatever that is, self-sabotage, lots of things get in the way of what we think that we can achieve. So keeping in mind what you know your blockers are, what you know could really impact your life in a big way, take the time now and write down your Oola 1 that you're going to work on for the next 365 days.
Hey there, welcome back to section 6. And we're going to actually start working on you taking action towards your Oola life. It's a big key step. When people say, how did you dig yourself out of the bottom to get to the point where you wrote the book and get to the point where Oola started going globally? It was really by taking action. Where you are in the framework right now is, you know, the 7 key areas of life. You know the blockers that are holding you back. You know the accelerator you want to dedicate your life to. In the last section, you wrote down, this thing has to go down. This goal has to go down. And to make that goal a reality, to make that goal happen, you have to do what we're going to be talking about in this section, which is taking daily action steps.
So that thing you wrote down, I want you to look at that right now and think about one thing you will do in the next 24 hours, one action step toward that. That's how your life is going to be transformed. It's not some miracle, amazing thing that happens on some late night infomercial that's going to radically transform your life. It's going to be you waking up every day, taking small action steps toward that thing you committed to. There's a gap between those that want and those that do, and it's filled by your action steps. I remember years back, I was, I don't know, low 30s, and I was 40 pounds heavier than I am today, and I had like B cups, jiggly B cups, and I was just kind of turning into that dad bod, and I came to this point where I'm like, man, this is me, and I up at the lake in the summer, we go to the lake. There's a mailbox about a quarter mile away, and I tried to like jog to the mailbox once, and I couldn't even do it. And I'm like, this is not cool. So it was that moment that I said, hey, I'm going to slowly jog to the mailbox. The next day I went to the next mailbox. The next day I went to the tree past the next mailbox and then around the corner. And 4 months later, I was able to run a marathon. Now that first day I couldn't do much. So I don't know where you are. If you're a long ways from your goal, that's cool. All we're saying is in this moment, we want you to start believing in you again. We want you to say, hey, I made a commitment to this thing I wrote down. And now I'm going to make a commitment to taking daily action toward that every day.
I'll do anything right now to go back in time, because I knew when you had your dad bod and have a camera on that hill when your hands were on your knees and you had the shakiness in your body.
We all get to that moment. Sometimes it's financially, sometimes it's your health, sometimes it's your relationship. We all get to hands on the knees sucking for oxygen. Like, is this really life? Like, is this what it's meant to be? And it's meant to be so much more. We're settling for ordinary when extraordinary is within us, but you got to back it up with action. It can't just, it's not like a wishing well, like, oh man, I hope this happens. No, you have to back it up with action.
Again, I know it happens to everybody, but what I'm saying is I wish I had a camera to go back to the dad bod days, because I remember those days very well for both of us, by the way, for both of us, and go back. But that's where it all starts. Again, if I look back at the beginning of this, I was telling you my story of losing everything. It was 3 action steps a day, 3 action steps a day, 3 action steps a day. And if you do that over in 1 year, you'll take more than 1,000 action steps towards living a better life, the life that you dream of and deserve, the Oola life. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down 3 action steps that you can do tomorrow. Maybe it's tied to your Oola 1, definitely some tied to this one goal that you just wrote, but also a couple of action steps. I'm like, what can I do tomorrow so the day doesn't keep happening to me, but I just take control of my day and start moving my life forward. This is going to be the key to really unlocking the success you want in all 7 key areas of life, is by taking action toward it. So flip your card over, look at the section on your card and say, okay, what is something I can do in the next 24 hours that's going to be directly related to the goal I just wrote down, but maybe a couple other things that are really going to start to move my life in a better direction so that I can start having less stress in my life, less overwhelm, and start living a life of more balanced growth and purpose. All right, here we go. Push pause on this video, and we will see you back in the next section.
So what 3 action steps would get you closer to that Oola 1 dream that you wrote down a few minutes ago? And again, if you haven't written it down yet, we don't want you to just hurry through this process. Take your time, think about it. What would you really like to be able to do? Who would you really like to be? As I said before, my Oola one a couple years ago was to get fit and to be healthy. And so my goals at that time were all about that action mainly. I had other goals and other steps that I would take every day too, but it was mainly about fitness. And so when I got up, the main thing, I have to tell you this, is this 3x5 card. And so I actually have one right here too, because it's the one I filled out for today. And I write on there on the right side, for instance, this one says 2-mile run. Now, this is not my card, but this is just an example. So the items on the right side of the card are your priorities. You must get those done before the end of the day. They are directly related to you accomplishing your goals. The things on the left side of the card are the things that we all have to do. We have to go to the grocery store. We have to feed the dog. We have to take the kids to soccer practice. All of those kinds of things that we all have in our day. And we call these Skittles on the left side and oranges on the right. And we'll tell you more about that in another presentation. But just know that on the right side, that's the priorities. Those are the action steps. They may be small. Like Troy was talking about, his first action step was to run to the mailbox and then to the second mailbox. And so each day he was increasing how far he was running. And that's what I did during my journey. I went around the block and then I went around 2 blocks. And now I do a 5K every day. That's just what my workout is. And I do an additional workout besides that. I also had to stop eating the wrong foods, as I told you before. So I had to put as one of my action steps to enjoy healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables for fuel, not for overconsumption. And so those things on the right side of your card, they are of utmost importance. And you don't want to hit your pillow that night until you've got those things done. That one thing was the most important aspect of me accomplishing what I accomplished last year. And there is no doubt about it to me. When you set those action steps, daily basis, you do 3 action steps for 365 days. Get out your calculators. That's over 1,000 action steps that I took towards my goals that year. And I'm continuing in that process today because, like I said, I'm not exactly to where I want to be yet. So maybe your goal is in finance and you want to pay off that first credit card, the smallest balance, just so you can feel like, okay, we got one of them paid off. And then move on to the next highest one and pay that one off. It's a matter of taking those individual action steps that seem very small when you think about them. But you know what? You also know that you can do them. And then you do them. And when they add on top of each other, they accomplish a whole lot. And you can actually finally reach your goals that you set at the beginning of the year. All right, let's hear from the Oola guys again.
Hello there, and welcome to section 7, your final section. You made it through. Maybe it was fun, maybe it was challenging, but I know it's going to make you grow for sure. And I want to recap a little bit before we close this down. And I want to look at what we went through. You looked at your last 365 days, the challenges, the wins, the highlights of your life. And then you looked at these things. You probably just heard about them for the first time, these 7 F's of Oola. And you discovered, man, I'm really passionate about this one, but these are causing me a lot of stress. And it got you started on the process of looking at your life in these 7 key areas, looking at that circus performer, balancing 7 plates like you're doing every day, and really starting to find a way to balance it all and keep it moving forward. And then we ran into these things called blockers, and you identified the one thing that's really holding you back and starting the process of working through that. And then the accelerators, grabbing onto an accelerator and saying, this is what I'm going to commit my year to. committing to a Oola 1. This is going to happen in the next 365 days. And then the action steps. The actions that you're going to start taking today, tonight, tomorrow to move your life forward and make sure that you're on track with living your Oola life. The cool part is this has all been wrapped in an amazing community. So no matter where you are, if you struggled with this course, it was heavy, it was emotional, that's okay. Where you are is just where you are. It's not who you are. If this course was easy and fun for you, but in the back of your mind, you know, man, there's some stuff I have to do. There's some work I have to do in my life. Cool. Where you are is just where you are. It's not who you are. If you had this class and it was fun all the way through and your life is great and it's balanced, I understand that too. Great. But where can you grow and push it to the next level? Or where can you reach back and help others? That's a big Oola principle, is if you're doing great in life, if you made it through some fires along the way, you made it through some challenges, this is your time to reach back and help others that are going through struggles and challenges in their life.
So as you reviewed what we did tonight, that's a lot.
I know.
Like we covered a lot of information just because we know and we're passionate about how transformational the Oola lifestyle framework is, but you just dipped your toe in the water. There's an entire self-paced, at the right pace, the right time, personalized for you path to a better way, to a life of less stress, more balance, and greater purpose. And that's called this Oola lifestyle framework. So whoever hosted the class can talk to you about that. But if you feel pulled that I'm settling for ordinary, there is something better inside of me, I would strongly encourage you to talk to that person and say, hey, how do I take the whole course? How do I dive deep into blockers and understand myself better? How do I get a better understanding for the 7 key areas? How do I really get to know me again and reconnect to my purpose, goals, and dreams that are unique to me? That can be done by the person who invited you to this class. There's also a huge community component to Oola. For you, it's unlike any other community I've ever been a part of. It's kind, it's positive, drama-free. It's encouraging of people, encouraging each other to live fully and achieve their dreams, even if they're different than our own. And that can be done. What if you are taking this class in person? I know it can be done in person or virtual. If you're taking it in person, there are 2 stickers. One is for you to look at that goal every day and take action toward it, to remind you what you learned tonight that's important to you and take action toward it. There's also a second sticker. That sticker is part of this community. We have this crazy 1970 VW bus, covered 27 layers in handwritten dreams, and we would be honored. We would be honored to add your sticker personally to our bus. And the collective energy of this community, of all of us becoming better versions of us, is how we're going to change the world together as a community. Because if that one thing you committed to tonight happens in your life, not only will your life become better, you're going to put off a light that's going to inspire the people you love to do the same, in your community, in the world. And that's how together we can change the world with a word.
You're worth it. Simply, you're worth it. We said that right at the beginning of this class, is that you are designed for greatness and a purpose. You have amazingness inside of you. Don't settle for ordinary when extraordinary is inside of you. So as you wind down this class, thank your host, thank the people around you. Really consider, like, how can I take this deeper in my life? And like Dr. Troy said, if we're going to change the world, we are on a mission to change the world with that bus across the country, around the world, collecting dreams and saying you're designed for so much more, bringing the world together as one community, saying let's support each other, love each other, and be kind to each other. As we're winding that down, look at that sticker and understand what you write on that sticker. If this is a live class for you, that's one on the bus, with thousands and thousands of other stickers from people around the world who said, I am designed for greatness and I'm going to commit to that. Thank you so much for joining us in this class. I hope you had a great time.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah,
as you wind
absolutely.
up? Just about the course. If you're considering it, like, some people right now know that I want to take the whole course because I want to change my life. Some people are like, it's not a good fit for me. That's cool. But there's a lot of you that are like, I don't know. With a 30-day money back guarantee and a crazy, like, ridiculously low price point, and you can unsubscribe at any time, there's really no downside. So I would encourage you, if you're questioning, jump in. Don't put your toe in. Jump in and see if by you getting to know you see positive change in your life.
I love to jump in because that's even helping other people. And that's
Taking action.
That's what we're doing in this community, is really helping other people through the course as well. So when you jump in, you say, I'm going all in on this, make sure you're helping other people along the way. And it starts by helping yourself. So make this about you helping yourself and then helping others. And that's how we change the world with this word, Oola. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to see your sticker on our bus as we take that bus around the world and take your stickers and dreams with us. Until next time, be grateful, have faith, and go get your Oola life.
Awesome. Quite the honor to share the stage with those 2 fellows. A lot of respect and admiration for them. So we're just wondering, for you, what would help you find more balance, growth, and purpose in your life? Would it be a proven system or a supportive community? Or how about daily accountability? I'm going to let Kevin finish this up and bring it in for a landing for us tonight. But I want you to keep these things in mind. But what would really help you live that Oola life that you would love to have?
Thank you, Wendy. So the beautiful thing about what Wendy just said is the Oola framework actually has all of those things. Wendy and I know because we jumped all in and we decided to become Oola Life coaches a couple of years ago. And we can actually teach and guide people through the Oola framework. And we have done that. And people thank us and they are so appreciative, just like we were appreciative of how much it helped us. And that's why we are so thankful for the Oola guys, Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy, and why we talk about them so admirably. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have done all those things that I was able to do last year. So we have a proven system. It's worked for thousands and thousands of people all over the world. And the Oola framework is known across the world. But we want to actually increase that. Over the next 7 years, we have a goal to share it with 1 billion people. Currently, they have 1 million followers simply by driving this VW bus from the 1970s at about 50 miles an hour across the United States and back for the last 7 years. And that's how they got to know people and how people got to know about them, as well as through reading their book. And people took these stickers and they wrote their dreams on there. And actually, people have covered that bus 27 times. So there's 27 layers of people's dream stickers all over that bus. And like I said before, Darla and I have a VW Bug that we're doing the same with. So we would love, if you do nothing else, comment in this post below and tell us what your dream is, or send one of us a private message, and we will make a sticker for you, and we'll put it on the Oola Dream Bug Passion, and we'll also get a copy of a sticker and get it put on the Oola bus for you. And that dream is going to be out there. It's in real life in front of other people as the bus goes across the country. And as the Oola Dream Bug drives around Arizona, other people are going to be able to see that. And you're going to know it's out there. And you're going to know that you've committed to do that, whether it be this year or the next year. And so you'll start taking those action steps. So if you do nothing else tonight, then send us a dream that you would like to have on the bus or the bug. Awesome. We would love to have those, and we will gladly put those stickers on for you. Now, the guys mentioned that there's actually a brand new way to actually keep track of your Oola life. You don't have to use a simple 3x5 card like I did and like Wendy did. You are actually going to have access coming up in the next few days to a few certain select people can actually sign you up, and you can have a digital platform on your computer, on your cell phone, on your iPad, whatever device you have, that you can decide what your dreams are, where you are at in the 7 areas of life, what's blocking you, what your accelerators are going to be. And this digital platform is actually going to know you, and it's going to create a custom blueprint for you. That is for you to get to the goals that you decide you want to go to. Maybe you maybe you're perfectly fit and you don't need to lose weight. but you would love to have more fun in your life, or you would love to have a dream job that you could work at. So, whatever your dream is, the Oola digital platform is going to be available from a select few of us on June the 7th. And we will be sharing more about that on this page and on our other pages. But if you want to contact us about purchasing that and being able to utilize it on day one, that is the launch date. Again, from a select few individuals. And then in July, it'll actually go live for the public. So you can simply use that to really finally achieve the dreams you've always wanted to achieve. And there's also another level that you can go to by sharing that with other people. You can actually earn money doing it. You could even become a coach like Wendy and I did, if that's something that interests you. So we just want you to know that whatever level you would like to participate, the Oola framework is for everybody. And it will help you no matter where you are, because where you are is just where you are. It's not who you are. And you were designed for greatness. Remember what Dr. Troy said. We only have one marble right now. That's the only one we have. The question is, what are you going to do with it? We hope you have a great evening, and we'll end with be grateful, have faith,
and go get your
go get
Oola
your
life.
life.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.